So there's the other story of what happened in Migori yesterday.
Ooh,
all right.
Yes, indeed.
So the president is in Migori and he's addressing a crowd and he's doing what the president has gotten accustomed to doing, speaking atop of vehicle, and there's a crowd of youth and he's telling them, so this is the plan.
Right.
Okay? Tufanye hivi ndio tufanye hivi ndio, you know, kuna mwelekeo. And then a shoe comes. And the shoe lands on the president's head. And the shoe bounces off the kofia he's wearing. Now, what's the source of the shoe? What's the direction of the shoe? How did the shoe come? Who was on the other's path? And all those.
Right.
And this has raised very many questions and, you know, a lot of talk on social media. But let's just take a look at, you know, this entire story. We also had it on NTV last night.
Tupunguze gharama ya Ngoja. Tulisema tupunguze gharama ya mbolea. Kweli ama si kweli? Tulisema tupunguze gharama ya mbolea. Ngoja. Wachana na hao wananchi. Wachana na hao.
Whoa, caused serious disruption.
Where?
When he says, okay, I'm going to just go right over the shoe and go to the reaction after. Don't ask me why I've skipped right over the shoe. It's because if I speak my mind, I'll be cutted out. When he says, achana na hao wananchi, I think it's because his security was already trying to get whoever was who threw the shoe, right? I don't know, the president's reaction was quite measured, I would say. One, aliendelea tu na sentence yake ni so a lot of people are asking online, tulikuwa tunapunguza gharama ya nini? Ni gharama ya mbolea. We've played you the full clip.
Okay, yeah, you've played the gharama ya mbolea. We didn't finish getting the whole story.
But very measured reaction. I'm just not going to comment on the shoe. I'll just excuse myself from that one.
So fixers will comment on the shoes because they're allowed to. Yeah, to your point, I don't know. I think we've seen this happen several times. We were talking about it before the show. President George Bush once had a shoe flung at him. President Trump survived an assassination attempt, I think many say, when it grazed his ear. So it isn't unusual, but it always is obviously a big conversation because there's a security issue there, but there's also a deep frustration issue there. It's basically a message without anybody having to say anything, and that's what I took from it the most is, you know, where if there's a faction of us who are frustrated, whether or not you think we're right or wrong, this is how we're going to vent. So it's got so many stories to it. It's not just a shoe being thrown. It's the reason behind it. It's how, you know, the security. How do you actually secure a crowd like that? It's hard. With crowds, you can't.
You can't.
If like we said, if the US president himself, there was somebody who positioned themselves to make sure they try and get him. This is not unusual with heads of state. I just think it ends up diving into much bigger conversations around people's sentiments, people being frustrated and unhappy. There's a huge debate. There's some people online saying, this was wrong. Others are like, wrong to you, not to us. This was our way of communicating it, and so on and so forth. But it's rarely just about the shoe. It's rarely just about the object. It's rarely just about being in the line of fire. What is it that's bubbling under to cause such a reaction?
Close at home, Raila Odinga, when he was then Prime Minister, went to Kwale, and as he was addressing an audience in Kwale, Amzee came.
I remember.
With a whip. Akamweka zake tatu. Akaenda.
Kwa amejam.
Ilikuwa imemfika hapa.
Hapa bado there's time to nini, but
hapa is you're about to throw you. To throw up. Right? Imemfika hapa. Yes. So it was maybe it's a similar thing here with what was happening. And then of course the security did what the security ought to do, which is swoop in and move in and see what was the direction of where did the shoe come from?
Right.
What else could there be that, you know, could pose a danger to the president? That's their brief. That's their brief.
Yeah.
And the president saying, okay, it's okay, just
leave them.
Yeah, leave them. Let me finish. But do we know whether they were left?
Do we know whether
they were left?
Oh, right.
Your story ilishia hapo because
I don't think so.
Because Mdosi amesema it's okay.
No.
Wewe wachana na hiyo kitu.
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely.
I was saying, as much as people will have fun with this or make jokes, my worry is, the pushback from now security agencies to the people of Migori and specifically that area and anyone who was in that crowd. We know how our security forces operate.
So it will be tenfold.
It will be tenfold. It will be excessive, most likely. The president said, "Achana na wananchi," but like Eric said,
that's not their mandate. Their mandate is actually, no, we're not supposed to achana now. We're supposed to follow through. Again, people having a lot, the memes and the metaphors. We have a lot of issues in this country.
Issues.
It's really just would stop coming. Everyone has just found a way.
We're finding the humor in it.
Because I think we do that, especially as Kenyans. I can speak, and I say this all the time.
Yeah.
I know that we try to pacify the pain with humor. But eventually it bubbles over. But this is what keeps us going for the day. It will be how best can I use the word shoe in everything.
Right.
You have issues. People are saying surely. People are saying choose your words. I mean, that's just how we navigate stress and tension. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's a blessing and a curse. Gets us through the next news cycle. But somewhere in there, there's just there's a resentment that needs to be spoken to. Because now, what happens in the tours to come?
Yeah.
Right.
And to your point, how will the security react? How will the president be? Will he be as measured? Will he take other security measures to make sure that he's not in that line again? I don't know. But for now, people are memeing it to get through.
There was some more violence, and I think we just need to talk about the violence from all sides. The hurling of a shoe in this meeting, I think, was a bit overboard. Because what could happen if there are those who say that it was, politics between two factions of politicians in Migori that just leads into this. But that violence of hurling things at one another, whether we see it in MCAs, in parliament, it is not the way to handle things, because you never know
how bad it could get. Yeah,
the innocent person. Some 72 people got injured yesterday at a Gor and Shabana League match. More than 72 fans were injured yesterday after FKF Premier League match between Shabana FC and Gor Mahia at Gusii Stadium in Kisii deteriorated into chaos. A statement by the Kisii County Police Commander Ronald Kirui indicated that 52 of the injured fans suffered multiple injuries, prompting emergency response and hospitalization of several individuals. Most of those injured fans are being treated at the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. This is the back page of the Daily Nation today. And you can see the photos here of the fracas, people trying to just jump over from one section of the stadium to another, stones. Like, people have died in similar circumstances in such similar matches.
It's the violence that you're talking about.
It's just the violence that just,
It becomes a culture, unfortunately. So it doesn't matter whether it's a political rally, a football game, a home, a school. It's just a culture of violence, and it gets normalized. Something that we definitely need to watch out
And we're seeing
for.
a global wave. I think when you just look across the news feed on the continent and beyond, it's a wave. It's a wave of people projecting the fact that they're not satisfied, that they don't feel like they're making any progress in their lives. A lot of people are moving from their houses to their cars. So globally, people are getting clenched, and then it moves to being unhinged. But yeah, I mean, violence isn't the answer, because what happens when that ends up hurting somebody, to your point, who's innocent? But there is a global wave of resentment and unrest that needs to be checked.
Yeah.
And I think beyond that is about citizens feeling like they're being heard. And again, globally, a lot of them don't feel like they are.
True.
So then what happens?
let's come up with systems that actually are responsive to us. Let's go to the break. When we come back, we have a conversation with the Water Cabinet Secretary, Eric Mugara, who will be here. The ministry is organizing a conference on water conference coming up soon. He'll tell us more about that, and also, uko na maji? Shida ya maji iko wapi? Let's ask him those questions right after this.